Well, I try and ask, like, the guru to correct us. We feel offended. The Somebody said it's very correct. But look at the case of Rupa Goswami. When Meena raised this issue, I thought Krishna is the only Purusha in this Vrindavan. I thought we are all Prakriti. You know what Rupa said? He looked at her and said, "You're right." This is Acharya. We are full of false ego. If someone tells us something, we say, "You have the right to tell me this?" What do you know? You just joined yesterday. I am a senior. You don't know? You're very offensive. This is your offensive mentality because someone tells us something that is beneficial to our growth. Yes, so what you do is very relevant to our everyday reality. Therefore, first we have to identify that the false ego, pride, is a cankerworm in our devotional development. And second is that we have to work on ourselves. And first of all, we have to understand that we are not these physical bodies. We are not the false ego. Therefore, if someone comes to tell us something, we should try to be proactive. Proactive means someone may even say something that we don't like. We should look at it as a means of growth. We should look at it as a call for love. We should look at it as a call for love. Because we get infuriated very easily. Someone does something and we freak out and we want to find the person and all the stuff. Especially when you're in a position of a parent, a position of a leader, a position of, a teacher. We think that we're always right. But Rupa Goswami did not say that he was always right. So I want to share this. Prabhupada told the story about Rupa Goswami. Yes, so it's an intriguing situation. And knowledge allows us to process things and to invite a culture of change. Because if we don't hear what is happening, we may think nothing like that is happening. Here was Rupa Goswami, our greatest of acharyas. And he accepted, yes, you are right. Krishna is the only Purusha. So we should be in a position to accept. Even our own child, tell us a story. There was this lady, white lady, we met in one university. And so she's a devotee. She told me how she lived in a temple before she got married, so she moved out. So she gave birth, and when she gave birth, she just abandoned chanting. For months and months. So when the baby started creeping, one day the baby crept to some corner of the house and put her hand into some place and brought out the chanting bead of the mother. So again she crept, and then she went to hold the mother's feet and got up, and she's a small baby, just creeping. She not started talking. So she just handed over the keys to the mother. So the mother said, she told me, "No, this is not this baby. This is my guru saying, hey, wake up." There you go. So it's a call for love. We should be proactive. That is a typical case of pro-action. What did he say? Nonsense, you. Come on, get out here. You coming to remind me about Japa? She told me, this is not this baby. My Guru Maharaj is telling me, hey, wake up, it's time to chant. So recognition and action for positive change. That's what we need. Any other comments or questions?
Yes. Thank you for your lecture. My question is this. You mentioned that chanting can help in liberating people. Take a nation like Nigeria, for example. When they see the Christian consciousness go on the street chanting, they don't like saying anything about them. Talk of Nigeria.
I've been in Nigeria. I have been here. I was born in this country. I joined in this country. Before I migrated to the United States, based on invitation.
And again, I've been a nation of Kali Yoga.
Everywhere is Kali. Don't blame it on Kali Yoga.
So, as individuals now, we create its own environment.
First of all, we get upset when our families don't take to Krishna consciousness. People who are close to us, they don't take to Krishna consciousness. We get upset. See, yeah, I've been trying to help you all these years. You nonsense. You're not trying to help yourself. You see, we should be sympathetic with people. Krishna consciousness is not a cheap thing. If you go into the streets, if you go even in this street, and you try to check out, you go from one house to the other, the big, nice buildings are here. But if you go and check one house to the other, you see that a number of people might have undergone university undergraduate studies. A number of them didn't go for graduate studies. And those who even go for graduate studies, hardly you find someone who has gone in for a PhD. And even those who have gone for PhD, scarcely you get those who go for postdoctoral studies. But education begins with kindergarten. In fact, education begins even with the mother. The first education we receive is with the mother. How to eat. She will push her breast into the mouth of the child. That's education. But for us to say, this child, the baby, you are a dummy. You use the child. Just because you have a PhD. The child may go and have 2 PhDs, who knows? Why have to rate her based on the present situation? It's a matter of time, it's a matter of evolution. So, the bottom line is that we should be patient with people. But we should live in a moment of emergency in our own lives. We should be patient with other people, but we should live our lives in a state of emergency. In other words, we should be self-transformed. We should expedite our self-transformation in such a way that people around us will get affected positively. A gentleman told me a story. He was at 8 rounds. He got married. And he was preaching to his wife vigorously, to chant. He was chanting 8 rounds. He was preaching, worrying the woman, The lady thought, this is my husband. For the rest of my life, I'm going to be with this person. And this is not a bad thing. Krishna consciousness, chanting, is not a bad thing. I'm lazy. How to do it? She started with 16 rounds. First time, she started with 16 rounds. Women, if they want to become determined and doing something, they surpass a man very easily. She started with 16 rounds. So she's been chanting 16 rounds for a while. The man was still chanting 8 rounds. So one day, she called the man. We were sweetly discussing. So she said, see, Krishna gave you 24 hours. And now he wants only 2 hours from you. The time is 16 and just 2 hours. Now he wants only 2 hours from you. And you cannot give 2 hours? What type of person are you? He told me when the wife told her that, he was like completely taken aback. But he said to create a balance, he started chanting 16 rounds there and then. So sometimes we may pursue Krishna consciousness in amazing ways, and we don't give any breathing space to people around us. We're forcing them, we're pushing them. But we should be very serious with ourselves. We should give peace a chance with other people around us. Otherwise, the so-called law becomes conditional law. If you don't do what I'm doing, then. If you don't do it now, then. You don't love the person. It's a business. Yes, we should encourage people. But what I'm saying, we should be so serious with our spiritual life that seriousness, the purity generated, will affect other people around us. Without even preaching to them. Without even telling anything to them. They will see our transformation and it will affect them. Why? Because our transformation will be the environment that the other people are going to invite. In as much as psychological theories bring to fact that we get affected by environmental forces. So let us generate a real positive environmental force through our practice of Krishna consciousness, and those around us to be affected. This is how to do it. Nigeria, we are in this Nigeria. We are preaching every day. We go out for a Harinam. Myself, Dhammadas family, we go out with the cookies almost every day, except on Sundays. We go out early in the morning, go into interior places, open state, whatever, far places. And we can still. This is the what do you call it? The Yuga Dharma. The chanting is very good. The japa is very good. But the main dharma is congregational chanting, spreading Krishna's holy names in the streets to affect a collective national positive change. This is our business. This is our job. You chant 16 rounds, you chant 64 rounds, you chant 108 rounds. That is just for your self-liberation. You want to save your neck, that's all. Christians are talking about salvation. You just want to become a salvationist. It's not a bad thing. But you're not really helping so much to change the world. Because, like you have plenty of money, and then you're just sitting by yourself and enjoying yourself. You don't want to give anything to your wife, your children, you don't want to give anything, nothing. So, sometimes we are misers. We have the resources, we have the human form of life, but we don't want to help to change the world. We don't want to share these holy names to all and some. But Chaitanya did it. He went into the streets to transform people. So, I would solicit that maybe there's some, setting, some program that at least once or so in a week or twice in a week, you come on Sunday, and even if it's just only 30 minutes, everybody should just go into the streets and do some short harinam. The people will benefit so much. It will change the whole environment. In America military, they say, if you see something wrong, fix it. Don't worry about who gives you a pat on the back. We see the wrong, we don't want to fix it, we complain it. But here is the medicine. Distribute the medicine. Oh, we're very busy. Mm-hmm. Why are you complaining? Yes, so collectively we can make a change. It's a very simple process to change this country. It's very simple. We give the holy names, and whether people like it or not, they will be transformed. If we don't do it, how many people are in our temples? How many people are here? What's the population of Bangladesh? Was asking, what's the population of Lagos? Some millions, over 10 million people. How many people are here? Yes, so we have to think positively. What to do? We have to change the world. We have been given the tools. We have been given the medicine. Harinam Sankirtan. We did it here. Every day we go out. Don't think that, this is family, so you just travel around the world and enjoying your lives. Nobody say horrible things. It's not so easy. Any other comments or questions? Yes,
very happy for your instructions and expositions and clarification of those doubts I was having before. But there's something from the summary at the beginning. You put the determination in three forms.
Goodness, passion, and
ignorance. And there's one point you make is that those that are mostly in the mood of darkness are having dreams.
Yeah.
So I want to come up with that issue because at the background of a Christian religion, mostly the best, most of them believe in dreams. So they thought that God would speak to men in different forms and even speak through their dreams. Now I want to ask, is the dream a bad one?
No. What basically a dream here means that we have some plans and we want to execute these plans. And everybody has got some plans. There are immediate plans, strategic plans. These are basically, dream is used here also in a connotative form. Words have different meanings, while words have denotative meaning and connotative meanings. The word dream is also used here in a connotative meaning, connotative form. It means it's expressing, it's trying to let us understand about we have so much of aspirations, we have so much of desires, we have so much of plans. This is what I want to do, this is what I would like to do, and all this type of things. All of us, we have plans. So we have dreams. You understand the point? And the physical, the denotative meaning is also implied in the text, where the Prabhupada said, when you eat too much. When you eat too much, you go into deep sleep. That's when you start dreaming. If you don't eat too much, if you eat moderate, half the stomach with food, 1 quarter with water, the other 1 quarter you allow air. You sleep very nicely and not so deep. You'll be able to wake up on time to do your sadhana. But if you eat too much, all in the name of enjoyment, you sleep so deep that you start dreaming. So, like you're traveling from here to London and maybe you never get a ticket to go to London. Yes. Dreams are there. Dreams mean different things to different people. Some people, when something bad wants to happen to them, they can also see it in the dream. The seeing that getting the revelation in the dream is not the issue. Can you change it? It's the change that we are after. So if we invoke Krishna's mercy, even the so-called bad remains could be transformed. And we are born into a world of bad remains. Just from the time we take birth, it's all bad remains. Disease, old age, death. They are just watching us like a dog at the gate. They're watching when someone makes a noise and then they bark. Oh. Disease, old age, and death, they're just watching us. And each time we wake up every day, we wake up and then we greet each other, good morning, sir, good morning. Which be good morning. We are drawing close to Yamaraj. If someone was on a death row and they take him out from the prison and they're going to kill him at the stadium or whatever, and he's actually released, he's going to die. Is that a good morning? Yes, so, but for the purpose of ethics, social ethics, it's a method of greeting. Okay, don't misquote me. Don't say, oh, this, I went to the Krishna the other day and they say you can only tell somebody good morning. That's not what we are saying. We are saying that the material world is pada, he, pada. Every step you take, if you run into difficulties, you can run into good situation, but you can also run into difficulties. So we have to be in the mood of, we have to have an emergency consciousness. Emergency consciousness means we want to be ready for the worst. If the best happens, we say, thank Krishna. Otherwise, you commit suicide. If you're not in emergency consciousness, you will commit suicide. Because bad things happen, they say, me? Of all people, me? Why me? This is the situation. You understand the point? All right. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I want to ask this question. In last arena we at Lekki, we did the source. We made the seals at that place. They mentioned, are we carrying bad messages to come and kill them? Mm-hmm. That's what we thought. That really did. You see what? The actual
yeah, these people, they need enlightenment. People don't know about what you're doing because we're not preaching sufficiently. See, if you go passing through the airport, most of the people that see you, oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They don't ask you these type of questions because they've never seen it before. And the tilak alone makes people think that, I mean, we dress like, the tilak is also like, juju people in Nigeria. So, you don't blame them. We have to explain matters to them. Huh? Our dress is a little bit, what do you say, weird. Our dress is weird. And that is why when we are going on, even on Harinam, we should not impose it on everybody. Everybody must put on dhoti and all this. People who just want to come with their normal mufti. And when people see that, admixture, some people also they feel more free. But we need explanation. Though we should not get intimidated when people ask us, oh, you bring medicine to kill us, or this and that. We should be proactive. We should embrace them with love instead of trying to fight back. Okay? There's so many hands there. Okay. All right. I'll give you a chance to ask a question.
Thank you for your lecture. I want to ask a personal question.
Yes.
Do you get angry?
Myself?
Yes.
I remember, my friend's wife in New York, she asked me the same question. But I'm a hot guy. when you go the wrong way, I can send you to jail. I laugh with people, I do everything, but I don't joke with the law, with the constitution, with the criminal code. I don't joke with that. That is another way to help people. I mean, like, someone becomes a devotee, and for instance, you're the managing director of a particular firm, and then in the process of trying to imbibe devotional culture, and then someone was asking me, because I posted some things on management on my Facebook, and someone asked someone, one director of one company in South Africa, he was mentioning how he had a company and people are cheating him, so what will he do? I said, come on, your company should have, I'm sure, you have mission statement, you have goals, you have a vision for the company. People who don't align with that, call them over, speak to them directly, please repeat, call them over, speak to them friendly, and in a loving way. Then when they third time, fire them. That's how it is. Yeah, so I don't get hungry.
Okay, my next question. Someone that gets angry of others on this.
Anger management is there. I'll give you a story. Now, when anger personified in the form of a demon, or in the form of a Rakshasa came to intimidate or came to tempt Satyaki, Balaram and Krishna. Satyaki and Balaram failed the test. Krishna is the only person who passed the test. Now, anger personified came in the form of a Rakshasa. They were travelers, so they slept over in one place over the night. Satyaki was talking about anger, so I'm giving this explanation. So Satyaki was guiding, and then this Rakshasa came and introduced himself that, look, I'm a Rakshasa. Now, if you allow me to eat those your two friends, I'll save you. You go free. But if you don't agree, I'll eat all of it. So Satyaki was very upset. He became really angry and he challenged the Rakshasa to a fight. So Satyaki is a Maharata, very experienced fighter. As they started fighting, this Rakshasa was going in leaps and bounds. At some point in time, he couldn't even see his face anymore. He had become so tall and huge, Satyaki was fatigued. And the more he was angry, the more the Rakshasa was increasing in size. It was time for Balaram to take charge. He went to sleep. Rakshasa went away. When Balaram took charge, the Rakshasa came back. The same proposition he made to Balaram. Again, Balaram was also very upset and challenged him to a fight. And the more Balaram was angry, the more the Rakshasa was increasing in size. Again, at some point in time, you couldn't even see his face anymore. They fought, Balaram got fatigued. And it was time for Krishna to take over. So Balaram left, Rakshasa left. When Krishna was guiding Balaram and Satyaki sleeping, Rakshasa came again. Made a proposition. Krishna didn't get angry. What did he do? He started laughing. He just went into protracted laughter. And the Rakshasa became angry. He said, come on. I am talking to you and you're making a jest of the whole thing. And then the more he was being too serious, the more Krishna was just laughing. And the more Krishna was laughing, you know the mystery? The more Krishna was laughing, the Rakshasa was reducing in size. He was being angry, Krishna was laughing, and he was reducing in size. He reduced in size until it became like a small sweet ball. The size of a small sweet ball. And Krishna put inside his pocket. So in the morning, Satyaki was complaining about his experience, his horrible experience with this Rakshasa. And Krishna was just smiling. Satyaki was upset. Balaram was also saying, I had the same experience. Krishna didn't mind, and he was very, very neutral. And so they were surprised at Krishna, what is this? Your friends, we are attacked. We are sharing, our horrible experience, and you seem to be indifferent. So Krishna just smiled and put his hand inside his pocket and brought. He said, "Is this guy you're talking about?" And so they said, "Explain how did it become like this?" So he explained to them that this is anger personified. He came in the form of Rakshasa to tempt you. You failed it. So when someone comes, the purport of this, or the implication, or what basically this implies, is proposing. Krishna is proposing laughter therapeutic intervention, or laughter therapy. It's an intervention because it's able to change the situation from aggravation to a situation of pacification and, a die-hard peace. So when someone comes to hurt you, try to hurt you next time, be proactive. If possible, utilize laughter therapeutic intervention. And you see the reaction of the person. I mean, it's like someone coming to try to fight you, and you embrace him with love. That's how it is. It's difficult. It's difficult, but we should try to knowledge. This is giving us a theoretical framework. But when you do have a theoretical framework, you have to apply that in addressing real life situations. So laughter mitigates anger. If you go into the details of laughter, it is less, it has less pressure on the system, but the result is very, 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 very positively powerful. Whereas anger utilizes so much of the system, and the result is always very devastating. There's a book one doctor wrote, Anger Kills. Anger kills. And he gives graphic details of what happens, what type of elements or what type of substances are thrown into your bloodstream when you get angry. And so it could cause you so much of trouble in the future. Someone who is having some anger problem, they need to check that. And laughter therapy is one good way to address it. Yes.
Thank you, Miraj. I just want to share my own experience I had a couple of days ago. And also really something to ask because of this. A lady I'm supposed to get married to. She stays in.
Why don't you use the microphone?
Others cannot
hear you.
No, others may not hear you. Sorry. Others may not hear you. I mean, I'm hearing you, but others may not hear you.
Sure.
So, a lady I'm supposed to get married to, she stays in Abuja. So she never knew that I'm into yeah. So we were like talking, and she was asking me what is her religion, because she's also a Christian anyway. So I told her, she said, what? They called and she was like, wow, that she can't do what I'm saying. So why she was actually saying all that was saying that she knows that you guys are vegetarians. How are we going to go? We don't kill animals like there's mother, like birds and mosquitoes like eating eggs and whatever and crabs and all the things she talks about anyway. I was like, I explained based on my own little knowledge anyway. And she was like, okay, no worry, anytime when I come and see with my eye, we can have fun. So my own person is that hopefully if I get married to such lady, how am I going to cope with her? Because definitely she's going to be eating meat and fish and some other stuff, which I doesn't like. So how are we going to cope with that? So that was the question she asked me.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice point. Marriage is a lifetime contract. And sometimes people say that, marry somebody who is not a devotee and change that person. Then we know you're a preacher. Powerful preacher. But I'll give you an example. I have a friend. When he was doing his undergraduate studies in philosophy, he was a staunch devotee doing this country. When he finished his undergraduate, he went in for the master's. He became a graduate assistant at one of the universities in the West. And then I encouraged him to go pursue his doctoral program. We've not met since I came back last year here. I don't even know the university where it is. But he told me a story how he got married to a girl from this aristocratic family, King's family. When he met, as a young professor, the girl said, hey, this one cannot escape me. She was trying to tell me. She said, I'm of this religion, this and this. I don't eat meat, fish, or eggs, this and this. She said, no problem. I'll follow everything. Everything you say, I'll follow. Let's marry. So they got married. She was following everything very, very nicely. So they got a baby boy. And the boy was like 1 year or so. And she was being instigated by her family. The boy's family also, they are not devotees. So she was being instigated by her family. She was being instigated by the boy's siblings. And then, when you have a child with a woman, it's very difficult to take a drastic decision in most cases. So one day she just came up, he was sharing it. One day she just came up with the whole thing that no fooling, nothing. That's the end of the game, man. So he went down. He went down, down. Break everything. Break off. Violated all religious, devotional integrity. Violated all devotional integrity. So when I met him that time, I went to the university. We went for a conference, academic conference. So some or the other, I encountered him. He was the one who came to meet me to say, university. So I looked at him and realized, oh, so I started communicating with him and all this thing. And it took me time to bring him. Guys, it was a long struggle that I had to call him up every day, almost every day, to speak with him, motivate him and encourage him until he became again a vegetarian. And then he kept moving on. Luckily, that time he was doing his PhD at Unilag, so most weekends he comes to Lagos to meet with his faculty, supervisor, and all this stuff. So it wasn't easy. And therefore, you have to look before you leap. Otherwise, you'll be ready to sacrifice your devotional adventures. At the same time, I've seen a devotee who was a brahmachari living in a temple. And then he wanted to marry, and his sister especially was saying, she's from Nepal, friend in America. And then he told me how the sister said, if you think that you're a devotee, you marry a non-devotee and make her a devotee, then we know you're a devotee. And he did it. He married this girl. She was not a devotee. She was not a vegetarian. And by his influence, the girl became a vegetarian, became a devotee. He started chanting 16 rounds. They got in a second issue. She's supposed to be initiated soon. That is not easy. Everyone is not lucky. So I said, look before you leap. One of Prabhupada's disciples told me a story. How the same thing, he encountered this lady, wanted to marry, and then she said, I'll follow everything, let's just marry. And he told me how they got married, and after the first issue, she said, nothing. Stop this money. He let her divorce. That was let her divorce. He was straightforward and determined, so he let her divorce. Some people you cannot even divorce because if your mind is so big, you can't even divorce, and you go down. You go back to meat eating, everything. So look before you leave. Okay? You're a very handsome man. There are so many women, so many women devoted looking for husband. There are so many devoted looking for husband. Yes, listen. The point is sometimes it's difficult for female devotees to get husband, but male devotees, once you have the skills, you're professional, you're working, you're bank balance, finish. You get a nice devotee to marry. So I warn you, be careful. And this is Ezekiel.
Yes,
Yes.
Hare Krishna. My first question is about the birthday and
Huh?
My first question is about the body and the soul.
Body
and the soul.
Body and the soul, okay.
We are made to know that we are not this body. Then how come that if we are being punctured somehow, we get pain?
Yeah, we feel the pain.
And whereas we are not the body.
Whereas what?
We are not the body.
Yeah. Why do we feel pain if we advocate that we are not the body? It's a nice point. It is because we misidentify with the body. There's a connection, and we tend to rely on that connection. The soul, I'll give you an example. You feel pain when you have a new Mercedes, brand new Mercedes from the factory, not Tukumbo. So you're happy, you registered it, and then you got wedded with your new wife, and you're driving, you're going to see your wife's mom, and someone just batches you from the back, boom, the whole back, is destroyed. How do you feel? How do you feel? You feel pain. But that is a psychological pain. The person did not hit you. He hit your car. But you come out and say, "You hit me?" I call the police for you. Sometimes people don't even call police. Just come out. Misidentification. So that is how misidentification works. The soul also, the body is a vehicle that the soul is using, but because we misidentify with the vehicle, we feel pain. Like the driver whose car was bashed from the back, and he comes out to fight the other driver. So he walks in that way. This is a world of misidentification. It is the cause of all our problems. I call it identity crisis. That is the cause of all the problems in the world. Identity crisis. So we have to go beyond this misidentification. That comes with the practice of devotional service. Chanting every day, being self-regulatory, going to bed at a particular time, at least not beyond 10 o'clock, waking up in time to use the Brahma Mudra hours for a sadhana, preparing you for the day's challenges. Then gradually, we will come to the point where we will live above the body. Otherwise, it's going to be a big joke. A big joke. A big joke. Any other comments or questions? Okay, you have questions?
My second question.
Okay.
Briefly, what I want to ask is that what is the essence of devotion or religion? Because my reason is this. My observation is that we have so much religion, or people do so much devotion, and you observe that these people, they don't. You see people, including churches, monks, you see persons do some kind of things and do like, this man is a pastor, why is
Why did they do this?
Yeah, and so much of that, you see people going to church, doing all these things, you can't wake up chanting, and yet you don't show up, you have all kind of that. So does it mean this devotion, do something as it doesn't really?
Okay, that's a nice point. That's a nice point. Here is the answer to your question. That there is devotion, but as we are endeavoring on the part of devotion, there are also weeds that are growing with us. And so if we're not watching out the weeds and to clear up the weeds will end up choking us up. Another point is that if even you're doing your devotion very nicely, but we have intrinsic and extrinsic enemies, intrinsic and extrinsic factors meditating against our growth. And one of them is lust. Arjuna was perplexed, worried about the same thing. So he asked Krishna, what is it? What am I seeing? People tend to be apparently doing wonderfully in their discharge of duty, but what is it that forces people to act sinfully? This is the point you make. What is it that forces people to act unethically? So Krishna gives a generic answer. He said, Kama Esha, Koda Esha, Rajaguna Tamuga, Mahasano Mahapapna, Vijina Ihabai. Bottom line, he said, the whole cause of the problem is that lust. Lust. It's the opposite of love. If someone is sometimes people think that lust simply means, oh, a girl is running after a boy, or oh, a boy is running after a girl. No. Lust is actually the energy that keeps everything in flux in this material world. Without lust, people wouldn't go to school to acquire PhDs. People want to build all these big skyscrapers. For what? To satisfy the senses. So, the point is that people act even against the better judgment because of that endemic enemy. Krishna calls it the greatest enemy, the devastating enemy of the conditioned soul. So we have that. It's like a pastor, he preaches very nicely, and then the next moment you see he carries someone's wife, and then he runs away with it. And you say, oh, there's no God, man. This is a man of God. And he preached very nice, but he took someone's ex-wife and ran away. There's so many guys who are not married. He didn't see that. Sometimes people say, oh, just the first time I saw you, I fell in love with you. It's not true. And people say, oh, I'm in love. He's my man. I'm in love with him. Is it true? When we are after someone to exploit their body for our sensory pleasure, it's not love. Attraction that is based, a 17 years old girl answered a 25 years old gentleman who was pursuing her for sexual relations. The man went on, he's a very responsible guy. He's professional, he has his own car, house, beautiful place. He kept pestering this girl 17 years old. Pestering. One day the girl said, see, you say you love me? He said, yes. She said, it's attraction, not love. She said, you are attracted to my beauty. You know that you love me. He was very upset, devastated, angry. That was the end of the pestering. You never came again before he saw it. He thought, this poor girl had this type of high knowledge. He had nothing to defend himself with. Except putting himself is attraction, not love. You are attracted to my beauty. You want to enjoy my beauty. You want to enjoy me. That's not love. Imagine you have all the money. There's one girl that has taken a heart. You go to meet her, dish out all the money, start giving gifts, and then he said, I want you to be my friend. I want you to be my girlfriend now. He said, oh, why? Because I love you. He said, oh, come on, this is not love. You are lost after me. This is what we do. So that was a difficult case. So we are affected by lust. When the living entity enter the cosmic creation, the original love that embodied the living entity in contact with the mode of passion was transformed into lust. And so people don't know, majority of people don't know this. Majority of people, they don't know this. When you run after some man, and people, some people are very sincere about it. Oh, I'm attracted to this man, how am I going to get it? Oh, I'm attracted to this girl, how am I going to get her? But that's not love. And so that enemy, the greatest enemy of the material world is lust. L-U-S. But it's not just a bad thing, because of the loss factor, people have to work so hard to build skyscrapers. Without the lost energy, people, the world will be inactive. So in a sense, it's good. But we should not abuse it, that's all. It's an energy that it's an operational energy. In as much as we don't abuse it. Okay, I think that what is the time? What is the class supposed to end?
3:30.
So it's already treated. Is it? This is a doctor, so I don't cost me. Yes, Bolo.
Dr. Bala.
Happy New Year.
Same to you, Baba. Dr. Bala.
On the mic.
What's your question?
I don't have a question. That was my Happy New Year first. Our prayer will answer. You are now 1 year in Nigeria. Okay. You have done this now. Krishna. So, he said in the Gita, he said, Brahma Bhutasana Nasu Shanti. I mean, unless we rise above the three nature, that is where the real knowledge started. Let's say, for instance, even the most one can become a demigod. We have assumed that stage. And sometimes from history we had, even the demigods who you have exposed to real knowledge, you fall a victim to this loss.
Even Lord Brahma.
So, is there any stages before one can enter the kingdom of God? Say one for conquer loss, greed, and anger. Is there any stages one will reach to subdue these three things?
Yeah, basically when we get to the stage of pure love of God, then all of these anarthas, the living entity can share. So at that